Hello there, it's Cassie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have Scrapping for Less's March 2019 Flavor of the Month card kit, and this is called Let's Celebrate, and I'm super excited because I get to guest design for them again this month. And so because this is Scrapping for Less's 2-year anniversary of their kits, the theme is celebrations, so all of the collections will center around some form of celebrations. So let's go ahead and take a look at what comes inside this kit. So the boxes are always super cute. Come just like these with all the collections and some cute confetti in there. And I'll show you this first collection, which comes in the Double Dip Sundae ingredients. And this one is Ice Cream Celebrations, which is great. You can always celebrate with ice cream, right? So the stamp set is by Scrapping for Less, and it's the Ice Cream Celebration stamp set. A lot of great sentiments in there, and that really great detailed ice cream sundae. It also comes with these peel-off sticker lines by Poppy Color. You can get gold, silver, or black. I happen to get black. Then you get these craft tags by Doris, several of them. Then you get the sequins mix by Scrapping for Less. And there's a really beautiful mix in there. Of course, it comes with an envelope. And then here are the papers. These are by Scrapping for Less as well. And I love their papers. Their quality of papers are so fantastic. They're thick and just, I don't know, it's just different than any other papers that are out there. Really love those. Collection 2 is called Happy Birthday, and this one comes with a lot of great stuff as well. They always do. The stamp set is by Sunny Studio Stamps called Floating By. It also comes with lots of great stuff, honestly. It has these Ephemeral by Scrapping for Less. Those are such good quality, so pretty. The Sequin Mix by Scrapping for Less. Then you get these gold foil papers by Cartabella, 3 of them. Of course, an envelope. And then the papers are the Happy Birthday papers by Scrapping for Less. And once again, amazing quality. And those colors are so vibrant. This one was definitely hard to decide which papers to use, and I ended up using almost all of them. The third collection is called Baby. So it's all about babies. And the stamp set is by Your Next Stamp, and that's called Baby Stamp. It also comes with these boy and girl stickers and a boy and girl journaling cards by American Crafts. And there are the boy and girl stickers by American Crafts. So you have options. The Sequin Mix is just a Sequin Mix by Scrapping for Less. And then the papers are called Sweet Baby by Your Next Stamp. And these are just single-sided. And once again, this one also comes with an envelope. The fourth collection is the Friendship Collection, and this stamp set is by Stamping Bella. It's called Snapshot Friends. Love that, and I love the sentiment that goes with it. It also comes with these cardstock sticker phrases by Pink Fresh Studios and some journaling cards by Pink Fresh Studios. There's also one that's a transparency. And there are the cardstock stickers. It also comes with the Sequin Mix by Scrapping for Less. And then the papers are Everyday Musings papers by Pink Fresh Studios. Very pretty colors. And of course, an envelope. Also going to get a ton of cardstock in this kit, and they're all by My Favorite Things. You're going to get a Craft, a Night Shift Blue, Gumdrop Green, Banana Split, Hot Fudge, and Red Hot, plus 2 sheets of Nina 110-pound Classic Crust. And then if you get the Banana Split option, which is the extra add-on, you're going to get these great things in there as well. So you're going to get this awesome Hooray die by Scrapping for Less. Then you're going to get the Sentiment Stamp by Scrapping for Less. Some amazing sentiments in there. You're also going to get these borders by Find It Trading. So you just cut those apart and you can ink them up. You can change the color, whatever it is you'd like to do. I thought those were super pretty. Very delicate, but very pretty. And then you're also going to get the Morning Dew Nouveau Drops by Tonic. So that's an awesome add-on. Dries clear. Gotta love that. And so there it is. That's all the things you would get in the Double Dip Sundae and the Banana Split. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on our first card, which is using collection number 1. And that's using that really cute stamp set called ice creams or ice cream celebrations by Scrapping for Less. So I've cut down all of my paper. I'm just using some of that hot fudge that came in the kit along with some of the ice cream celebrations paper. And I'm putting some Express It cardstock into my mini Misty. And I am going to stamp out that that really cute, like now it makes me want ice cream stamp set or stamp into my positioner there. I'm going to ink it up with some Memento Tuxedo black ink because I am going to do some Copic coloring, and I'm not going to show you the Copic coloring because that's not what this particular video is about, but you will see it Copic colored. Originally I thought I could put this in my Misty and stamp out the sentiment, but it just isn't going to work that way, so I am stamping out the 3 parts of this sentiment, and this sentiment says all you need is ice cream. And so I stamped out the all you on the first banner, and these are the craft tags by Doris, and I am going to mask off one part of the sentiment, and I'm going to ink up need is, and then I'll stamp that onto that tag. And then that last part, and of course you have to clean off your stamp really, really well in between. And I know some people will cut apart their stamps. I just cannot bring myself to do that as of now. Maybe someday in the future, but now I can't. And then I stamped out is ice cream for the last part. So there is my image all cut out and colored and ready to go. And I have another piece of that paper all cut and ready. And I'm going to grab some of those peel off sticker lines by Pappy Color. And again, there are 3 different options of color that you could get in yours, and I got black. And so I'm just going to line those up on the side. And those are really easy to line up. And they stick well, but you can still move them if you need to. So that is the nice thing about that. So I've got that first one down, and I'm going to start staggering these. So the second one, I'm going to not have it go all the way to the top. And I just keep fiddling with that to make sure that it's as straight as I can get it. And then the third one, I'm going to stagger down even further and just manipulate that one. And my fingers are just a little too big, so it was hard to get it to exactly where I wanted it. So I just grabbed my scissors, picked that up, and then stuck it down where I needed it to be. Flipped that over and trimmed off the excess. So those little stickers come in quite handy for little bits of embellishment. I thought that was fun. So I'll start adhering my card. I'm going to adhere some of that pattern paper to the card base, and I had cut this paper down to 4 inches by 5.5, so it just leaves a border on the left and right hand side. And then I'm going to glue down my little pink panel as well, just using some liquid glue, and I'm not very generous with that. It looks like I'm being very generous, but I'm not. It's a very thin layer of glue. If you put too much down, you will warp your cardstock. And then I'll use that same liquid glue on each of the tags. So when all those are lined up, it's going to say all you need is ice cream. And that almost couldn't be much truer, right? And then I'm going to cover my ice cream sundae with the back of it with some Scotch foam tape. And then I'll peel off the backing of all of that because I just wanted to have a little bit of dimension. And I had considered using the sequins that came in the kit, but I'd already put the tags on there and the stickers, and I thought, well, I don't want to go overboard. So because this cardstock is dark, I do grab some white cardstock and I put that inside so that it would be easy to write out your sentiment. And that will finish off the first card for collection 1. So now on to card number 2 from collection number 2, and I just have some of that cardstock, that banana split, I believe it was, cardstock that came in the kit, and I had trimmed that down to 4.5 inch or 4.25 by 11 inches and scored at 5.5 inches. And now I've trimmed down a bunch of that pattern paper. This pattern paper is just so vibrant and beautiful that I just wanted to use as much of it as possible. I couldn't stand it. So I'm taking the balloons from the stamp set, and that stamp set was once again by Sunny Studio Stamps called Floating By. And I'm inking that up with Memento Tuxedo ink, and I am stamping that onto some Express It cardstock. I'm going to do some very simple Copic coloring, as you can tell. I thought about coloring all the balloons different colors, and then I thought, oh, let's do 3 sets, and we will just color them each their own color. And I really like how those turned out. So now I'm just adhering my card. This is a super simple card. With that ephemera in there, it makes it really easy to just come up with some very simple cards. And so that's what I'm doing. And I'm just putting down all of my cardstock using, or my pattern paper using some liquid glue for now. And then I'm going to start kind of assembling what I think would be the best option for this card. So I'm going to take the bag ephemera, put that down with some tape or some glue, and then I'm going to do the red and the blue balloons the same way, just on the side, like they're coming out from behind the bag. And then the yellow balloon, I am going to put some foam tape on the balloons themselves and put a little glue down on their string and make those look like they are popped up. So they are popped out further from the rest of the balloons. And I have some of that foam tape on the Make-A-Wish ephemera as well, and I'll just stick that down. And I ended up going a little bit crazy with the sequin mix because I just couldn't help it. I started putting it down. So where I lacked on the first card and not used any, this one I went nutso. So I'm using my crystal katana along with some liquid glue, and I am just sticking those sequins all over the place. I guess I was just thinking confetti, honestly. So I mean, what would be better than balloons coming out of a gift bag and a bunch of confetti all over the front, right? And then I also decided with that ephemera, I couldn't help it. I had to put some stuff on the inside as well. So I did trim down one more piece of the pattern paper to a part that said birthday. And then I'm going to glue down the cupcake in the inside as well, just kind of tucking it behind that banner. And then I will flip that over and I will trim off the excess of both of those, making sure to get glue everywhere. And someone did ask me why I always do top folding A2 size cards. I don't know. It's just a preference I have. Not that I mind doing the other kinds of cards, but for whatever reason, I just always cut my cardstock like this, and this is what I end up doing. And so because that banner on the inside had birthday all over it, I decided to take the happy birthday sentiment from the stamp set and just kind of mask off birthday and stamp out happy 3 times on the inside. And pardon my head, clearly that gets in the way. So I want to make sure I'm stamping it correctly. So I just stamped that out 3 times so it looks like happy, happy, happy birthday. And that will finish off the second card in this sequence. So I really like how that one turned out. Very fun and vibrant card. So collection 3 is the baby collection, and that actually called for 2 cards. So I am going to be making 2 cards that are basically the same, just one would be for a boy and one would be for a girl. I'm going to do some ink smushing, but I am doing it a little bit more controlled by using a scrap piece of packaging, and I put the distress ink right onto the packaging, and that was the color Spun Sugar. So I'm using Spun Sugar, and I'm also using Worn Lipstick for my girl card. And I am smushing it onto the packaging, and then I'm smushing that onto some Strathmore watercolor paper that I have trimmed down. I just wanted a small panel, and in between I am drying it off and I'm cleaning up my mess, just as you can see here. And I'll put a little bit more Spun Sugar on there, and then I realize I do need to dry it, otherwise it'll all just mix together. So I'll spritz that and put a little bit more on there. That Spun Sugar is just so light, but it's really pretty. So I like the way those work together. For my blue card, I'm using the colors Stormy Sky to start, and that's actually a little darker than I thought it was going to be smushed on there, but I really like it. And for my darker color, I'm using Chipped Sapphire, and once again drying it in between, spritzing water onto the color, and then smushing that onto the paper. And so once those are done, I'll set those off to the side to dry, and I'll start stamping my images. I am using some more Strathmore watercolor paper to stick with the watercolor type theme, and I am going to stamp both the bunny and the bear 3 times using some VersaFine Onyx Black ink, which is waterproof ink because I plan to do some watercoloring. Very simple. I actually took the pattern from one of the papers which came in this kit, which is the Sweet Baby paper by Your Next Stamp, and it had bunnies on it, and those were it was like the girl colors. And so I'm stamping each of these animals 3 times, and I'm going to follow the color palette that they had, basically. I'll stamp out the sentiment twice since I'm making 2 cards, which is just congratulations. And I'm once again still using that VersaFine Onyx Black ink. And then just to show you what I meant is that I'm using my glass mat, and I have smushed the same colors that I used onto my glass mat, and I'm using a water brush just to color those out. And I'm doing each of the bear, you know, like dark blue, light blue, and then a white bear. And then I will cut those out and get those ready to adhere to the card base, which is, for the girl card, is just a white card base. And I'm using liquid glue to put down my watercolor panel, and then I'm going to do the same with the blue. And I am putting that down onto that dark blue, which is the Night Shift blue that came in the kit. I have covered both of those pattern papers on the back with some foam tape, and I'll pop those up. And you can see the bunnies that I was talking about. That's what inspired me to color the bunnies the way I did. I'm putting a little bit of liquid glue on the bottom of my sentiment, and then I'm going to put some foam tape on 2 of the bears' heads and 2 of the bunnies' heads. So I'm making these the exact same. So I won't show you both, but I am making them the exact same. Putting a little bit of liquid glue on the bottom of the bears, and then adhering those all over around the congratulations. And I'll do the same with the bunnies. And so then I'm going to start doing up the inside, which I'm going to use those boy-girl stickers by American Crafts that came in this collection. And I'll do the same for both. I'll just start adhering some of those stickers down, because when I see stickers, I can't help. I have to use it. And I'll just put those on the inside, so that way my insides are decorated as well. And for a final bit of embellishment, I'm going to use the sequins mix by Scrapping for Less that came in this collection, which is just some clear sequins. They're really pretty. They have various sizes, which is nice. And I'm once again using my crystal katana along with some liquid glue to adhere those down. And of course you can mix and match each of these collections. But there you go. There's the little boy card. And there is the little girl card. You had to make 2, right? But super easy. And I like how those turned out. So collection 4, I think, really speaks to my heart, because I love making cards for friendship. And I also just, that stamp set just screams Copic coloring. So I've taken one of the journaling cards and I've trimmed it down, and I've used my circle nestability, and I trimmed out the Let's Weather It Together sentiment that was on there using my Sizzix Sidekick. And I've also trimmed down some paper, but I'm going to go ahead and stamp out this stamp set onto some Express It cardstock using Memento Tuxedo Black ink, because like I said, this one just needed to be Copic colored, and that's one of my favorite ways to color. I say that with everything though, so I mean, I love to watercolor too. So I didn't show you the Copic coloring once again, just because that's not what this video is really about. That's about the ideas. And so it was pretty easy Copic coloring. Tried to color it like my best friend, but I didn't get her hair dark enough, nor mine, so whatever. She's still going to get it at some point. And now I'm trimming down some more patterned paper. This patterned paper again comes from the Everyday Musings by Pink Fresh Studios. Really pretty papers. And I'm going to put this at an angle. Just trying to come up with a good way of putting down this paper. And you know, you do want to be a little bit different from time to time. I feel like all I do is the same stuff. And you know, as long as you guys are inspired, I suppose that's what matters. But I also want to show you some different stuff too. And I hope I do a pretty good job of that. So now that I've got that tacked down, I'm just trimming off the excess once I've flipped that over. And I do like the angle of this. It's kind of neat. It's different. And so I'll go ahead and adhere that to that craft card base that I have. That craft cardstock came in this kit once again. And I'll tack that down with some liquid glue. And then I'm going to start trying to figure out how I want the rest of the card to go. Wasn't sure if I wanted the Polaroid to be sideways or straight or how I wanted it to be. But I do want that sentiment down with some liquid glue. So I'll put that down, and then I'm going to cover the Polaroid with some foam tape. And I was very generous with the foam tape all over the back of that. I didn't want it sagging anywhere. And I do decide to put it down fairly straight. And so then for some embellishment, I'm going to take those Sequin Mix by Scrapping for Less that came in this collection, and I'll just be very generous putting those all over the back as well. I like this mix because some of the sequins have holes, some don't. There's different sizes. It's just a very pretty mix. And then I always think of the inside after the fact, so that's why you don't get to see a great amount of it, because I'm always afraid those sequins are going to pop off. But I did stamp this sentiment on the inside, and then I took a couple of those cardstock sticker phrases by Pink Fresh Studios that came in this collection, and I put a couple of those down, just making those come off the edge, just for some visual effect. And then I will flip that over and cut off that excess, and that will finish off this card. So I love that stamp set. You will definitely see it again. Very cute. So for the banana split option of this card kit. I went ahead and paired that up with some of the pattern papers from the collection number 2, which was Happy Birthday, and these are the Happy Birthday papers by Scrapping for Less. And I'm going to use the Hooray die, which I just love from this banana split option. I'm going to run that through my Sizzix Sidekick with some of that pattern paper, so I have a beautiful red Hooray to put on the front of my card. And because we're celebrating, you're definitely going to want to head over to my blog and participate in the blog hop, because there is a chance at the end for you to put your name into a raffle copter for a prize. And who doesn't love prizes, right? So I'll have those links down below. I'm going to use one of the borders from Find It Trading, and I'm going to use some Distress Oxide ink in the color Blueprint Sketch. And I'm using my Vivos makeup brushes because these are very delicate borders, and this was just the best way to color that border. And so I've got that all colored up using those inks and my brush. And I have some green cardstock that came in the kit. This is the Gumdrop Green, and I have that all ready to go, and I've trimmed down some more of that pattern paper, and I'm going to just kind of get ready to assemble my card. But before I do that, I grabbed the stamp set. It's called the Sentiment Stamp by Scrapping for Less. This was once again in the banana split option, and I'm going to use my Versamark ink. So it's going to be used as a watermark ink this time. I'm not embossing it, and I'm going to stamp Let's Have a Celebration all over that right or left hand side of my cardstock. And I didn't do it right there in the middle because that will be covered by pattern paper, so I wasn't as concerned about that. And I'm so proud of myself, I remembered to get the inside decorated just a little bit before I completed the outside of the card. And to get that outside ready to go, I'm going to just trim an angle on each of those pieces of that pattern paper. And then I'm going to adhere those down with some liquid glue. Sorry, I've been a little bit off screen here for some of the filming. I just get so excited sometimes when I'm creating that I forget that I'm filming. And so I do grab my T-ruler to try and make sure that this is as straight as I can possibly get it. That's one of the reasons I like using liquid glue for a lot of my assembly. It does give me a little bit of wiggle room in case things aren't very straight, which in my case is quite often, more often than I'd like. And I try to use the T-ruler once again on that, but it's okay. So now I'm going to try, or I'll adhere down the border just using little dots of liquid glue on the back of it. It's so delicate, and I mean, you don't want to go too crazy, and that liquid glue will hold it in place just fine. And when I get that put on there, I'm going to flip it over, and I'll trim off all the excess, and then we'll be ready to put the Hooray die cut onto the front. I'm going to use the same liquid glue, and I'm also going to use my reverse tweezers. I tried to hold it, and that just was a nightmare. So I'm going to use my reverse tweezers to hold it, and then I will put that liquid glue all over the back, trying to not put too much on there. And this way I can adhere my sentiment onto the front of my card without too much of an issue. That's why I love those reverse tweezers. But I'm not done there. So this banana split option also came with the Morning Dew Nouveau Drops by Tonic, and so I'm going to cover up the Hooray with the Nouveau Drops. I actually, after using these, like these a little bit better than the Crystal Glaze, or I can't even remember what it's called, the Glossy Accents there. I like it a little bit better. This seems to hold its shape a little bit more than the Glossy Accents. Those tend to just kind of spread out a little bit more. So I really do like the Morning Dew Nouveau Drops for that reason, because they hold their shape. And I'll also put a few drops of it on the edges just for a little bit of extra embellishment, and they do dry clear, which you will see in that final picture. And when I'm done putting those on, that's going to finish off this last card. And I think I like how that one turned out too. So there it is, all dry and ready for you. So let's go ahead and take a look at all the cards that I made using the Double Dip Sundae and the Banana Split. So there's card number 1. And then we'll move on down the line. I would love to know if you know, which one of these cards was your favorite, if you had a favorite. I appreciate when you guys leave the love, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so, and be sure to hop along on the blog hop. And as always, guys, thanks so much for stopping by.